This is an example of the final practical exam and the time it should take for you to do this, if you even expect that you can do what I do and triple it. So I'm going to do this real time. I'm exposed to the problem, so we're going to go new, and remember we have to be proactive about where we're getting our template. We realize the templates come in both a template and a block format. So in this case, out in the K drive, the eTopo drawing, if I look for the templates out to the same place in my home computer, set up your home computers so you can work on this stuff. WDOT 10, I think that's kind of the one we were doing. So these things, very often these templates are going to come in either in a drawing format or in a template format. You make sure that you've begun with the right template. You can then bring in the cadastral or the topo, either one. Insert is an AutoKit command. It is not just this thing there. So they do not have an AutoCAD insert there, where I'm going to start with an insert on the file, which was in my case, you have to know where files go. In downloads, you have to learn how to manage your views by details, very often type modified. There's my cadastral, I'll bring that in. Remember that we do not shift the coordinates on anything, and then we can explode on import or explode later. But we're going to go ahead and explode on import here. Zoom extents, learn to do that. Learn to turn layers on and freeze and thaw all layers. We can next go through and do the land XML import. Import land XML as you were delivered an XML file. In this case, I'm going to go to the one that we downloaded again just to double check, even though it came and gave me one I thought I wanted. I'm going to go to users, Mark Patak. Of course, for you, it was provided by Trinity. We're going to bring in everything. In this case, it brought in an alignment. You were then given some horizontal constraints. You look at this and you realize that alignment was not done correctly. You can't be shifting and moving things. You go ahead and make a call. But now we were going to begin at 1320. Best way to do that, since it's both east-west and north-south, is to go from the endpoint here and say 1320. You now have two horizontal constraints. You want to go perpendicular to line from an arbitrary point perpendicular to there, and again line from an arbitrary point, shift right click perpendicular to that, offset through, grab that there and go through the intersection. There is a command in Civil 3D, offset through, shift right click the intersection. There is a command in Civil 3D that goes perpendicular from. I do not know why you will do it. In the end, you realize if you're smart, you can reverse this, but I'm not going to have you do that. At this point, you could get through to your horizontal constraint. You've got one other horizontal constraint, and that is to go through that point at 1500. Line from here, perpendicular to there, offset through, shift right click. Hopefully the intersection works, and it does. You now have essentially three tangents. If you look at this here, you might want to kind of think about some design. In this case, your design here, you might want to go ahead, well, you know what, I'm going to come get around here, so you might want to draw a couple other lines. In this case, if you wanted to keep everything parallel, you could do copies or offsets. You can copy this, and you might want to go around here, and you might want to go there, someplace in between. It kind of had snaps on, so I'm going to zoom in. A logical thing here might be to go halfway in between. Line from shift right click near, shift right click perpendicular, and I'm going to offset through from here through the midpoint of that. You now have things that are drafted to those horizontal constraints. You can do fillet radius is 0 if you're smart and you do not want to get more into design, or you can do fillet radiuses to think it out if you were really doing a lot of design. Fillet radius 0. Undo, you fillet, you keep the things, click on the things you want to keep, fillet radius 0. Grab this and that, offset through someplace there, fillet radius 0. You can hold the shift key and just do the radius that way. You now have an alignment that you can go ahead and do P edit. Grab your alignment. Even though I'm going, this is the wrong direction, I'm going to go with it. You would, in all intents and purposes, you would have turned the direction of that way by rotating it 180. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you go back to home, you're ready to begin your kind of alignment. You realize there's one point you don't know, and that's the elevation at 1500. You'll get that later, or you get it now, either by reports or by making a profile view. So in this case, you go ahead and create alignment from objects. Grab the object. You notice it actually put it in the right way. So I was wrong on the direction it is drawn. Enter to accept. Give it a name that makes sense. And include where its location is in terms of the offset. I'm going to make this 10,000. If you're smart, you change that right now. And I'm going to go ahead and try to put a minimum radius of 100 here. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. And you see the design is done. It gets a little weird looking at it if in fact you don't put this at 1 to 40. Realizing here, even I have forgotten at this point 1 to 40. I should have gone into my tool space here to my drawing, right click, edit my drawing settings. What I might do is, if I were you, I would get a template that's already set with that. If you're working in one area, we're going to go to Wisconsin. This is where you would really start worrying about this when you bring aerial photos in, which we'll work with. Central plane, 83, central zone, US foot, apply, OK. You've got your design done. Now you can make your surface profile. If you go ahead to create a surface profile, you can go ahead and create a surface profile. You see there's one already made there for Peter. You can make one for Final Road Centerline. You have to tell it where it's going to get it. From Xtopo, add. I don't have you do it here, so I'll just hit OK. It made the profile. Now you have yours, which begins at 100 plus 00, and Peter's, which begins at 10 plus 00. You can go ahead and make two vertical profiles. You make two vertical profiles by going to the profile view, create a profile view. For Peter's, he's beginning at 10,000, and you can begin your height as wherever you care. We've been working a lot with 1028. You don't need to worry about the height here, so we'll just leave it pretty high. 1000, 1028. Create a profile view. Your profile view is going to be 1000, 10280. And it did it. Yours begins at 100,000. I'm sorry, 10,000. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to put these in, and then you're going to check them. You're going to create a profile view. You're going to look at the one you wanted to do, which is Final Road. You're going to look at the stationing and the height. In this case, we'll keep it the same. It doesn't make a difference once you pick here. We're going to create a profile view, 10,000. comma 10280. They're both there. We make a view before we move on. New view, clicky clicks off. Remember, minus view works better overall. And apply. We're going to end it there and go on from there.